today is working to stop billionaire Michael Bloomberg and his gun control group, Every Town for Gun Safety, from passing a strict new universal background check law in Nevada. Nevada voters will have the chance to vote on a November ballot question after legislators failed to pass the bill in 2015. The background check bill would apply to all gun purchases in Nevada, including private sales, online sales, and gun show practices and purchases. For more on the battle in Nevada, I want to bring in Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, good to see you.
Good morning.
What's your take on this?
Well, this is one of the latest approaches by the anti-gun lobby, which is to go over the head of legislators. Legislators have taken an oath to uphold the Constitution, which includes the Second Amendment. The voters have not. So they can lobby the voters with as much propaganda as they want in an effort to override legislators, which typically have not chosen to go the way Mike Bloomberg wants them to go. A word about Mike. We all know him. He was a terrific mayor of this very complex city, far better than the mayor we have now, but he's fundamentally wrong and misunderstands the concept of guns. Where there are more guns, there is less crime, and he's trying to...
Is that a fact?
Yes, it's a fact. He's trying to import an Upper East Side Manhattan attitude about guns to Nevada, which is a society where guns have been a lot more prevalent, a lot safer, and a lot more people understand how to use them than here.
Do you believe, though, that there are gun laws that should be unique to different states, even cities in this country? As you kind of point out, like what might work here in New York City does not work and doesn't dovetail with the way people feel in the West.
Well, look, we obviously live far closer to each other here in New York City, but even New York City does not follow the law of the land. The law of the land is what the Supreme Court says it means. And the last time the Supreme Court spoke about this, it said you have an absolute fundamental right. A fundamental right is one for which you don't need a permission slip from the government, like speech, thought, press, travel, privacy, religion, to have a gun in your home. Do you know anybody that has a gun in their home in New York City? Now, the answer is probably yes. We may know one or two, but it's impossible to acquire that in New York City because the city doesn't care about your fundamental liberties if it happens to be a liberty that the left dislikes, like self-defense.
But you know
I had one for years, actually.
You have?
I did have one for years that was unregistered. For years.
You know, I'm
loaded underneath my bed.
Oh, my God.
For years
How
and
the heck
years.
did you get that?
It was in the family. It was in the family. It was in the family.
Look, I'm all about
right now.
And you have that fundamental right, and you should use it. And I'm all about rights and Second Amendment. But Judge, what's wrong with background checks? I mean, is there any downside risk to a background check?
The mayor spoke at Salt.
Here's the problem with background checks is they don't work. Background checks only reveal what the database has in there. So a person could be absolutely mentally deranged. If they've not been adjudicated mentally deranged or if they've never been institutionalized, their derangement is not going to show in the background checks. The purpose of the Nevada proposal is to delay your ability to get a gun. Right now in Nevada, you can get a gun in about a week. If the background checks thing passes, it'll take 4 or 5 months.
Judge, are you concerned about these mass killings? You obviously
I'm
are, right?
The delay. I don't know.
You're concerned about the mass killings. So what policy would you put in place that was congruent with the Second Amendment that would try to limit some of these mass shootings?
The mass shootings have occurred in areas where the government has prohibited guns. San Bernardino, a government facility. Nobody can carry a gun. Newtown, Connecticut, a school. Nobody can carry a gun. Go to a school in Israel where the teachers are armed and know how to use their guns. There's no shooting. Go to a government facility in Israel where everybody is armed and knows how to use guns. There is no shooting.
That's a good point.
The one thing that always happens when you shoot back at these crazies is they stop shooting. They either die or they flee. In both cases, they knew that nobody would be shooting back.
So would you arm all the teachers then? Would that be the policy?
Yes. Yes. I would also arm any law-abiding adult because that will terrify the crazies before they shoot because they know they're not going to end this escapade alive.
Judge, a lot of people, when you have the mass shootings who are not in favor of greater gun regulations, will talk about mental illness. But when you start talking about trying to identify those individuals who have psychiatric problems, you get into privacy issues. So I always think, well, how are you going to identify those people? Even in the case of that shooter down in Louisiana who went into the theater, he had a history of mental illness, and that didn't stop him. I mean, what would you have done with that?
I don't know how to overcome that, to be honest with you, other than the fear that somebody else with a gun will shoot back.
Right.
When a person is crazy, nothing is going to stop them from achieving the object of their craziness except physical force.
Mm. Wow.
Now, look, I realize that there's another side to this argument. That's the Mike Bloomberg side, and Bloomberg is actually being very astute by going over the head of the legislature.
Is he?
But it is just, well, because he might succeed. Well, it is just as wrong and unconstitutional for the people at an election in November to deny everybody else the access to guns as it is for the legislature to do so.
One question on that. What do you think the impact is on turnout in Nevada, which will be in play in the fall?
That I don't know.
Mm.
I don't know how popular.
I would tend to think this would bring out.
You guys were just in Nevada last week. I don't know. Is this a big deal out there? At this point, I don't know.
Well, I was in Las Vegas for a day.
Oh, all right.
I wouldn't want to misspeak on that one.